and play on 2nd and 10. That's his youth right there.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Today, I'll be continuing with my college football schedule preview and point spread prediction videos with the Texas A&M Aggies. So this is a tough schedule. Texas A&M will have four new conference opponents this year compared to last year. Last year they played Auburn, Mississippi State, and Florida. And this year they will play Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. And that makes the conference schedule a lot tougher than last year because even if Auburn, Florida, and Mississippi State all improve a lot this year, but last year when Texas A&M played them, they were the three worst teams in the SEC besides Arkansas, even worse than Kentucky, who, while I'm doubtful will be a lot improved in year one under Will Stein, I couldn't really imagine them being any worse than they were last year. And Alabama will for sure be some form of good in 2026. And they are still easily one of the toughest places to play in college football. Bryant-Denny is the eighth largest stadium in the country with a capacity of over 100,000. So I think the bye week comes at a good time in between back-to-back road games against Alabama and South Carolina. South Carolina on paper is a game that Texas A&M should win fairly comfortably, and Texas A&M has dominated the series, winning 10 out of 12 meetings. But this is a concerning game for Texas A&M because South Carolina has won the last two meetings with Texas A&M when it's been played at South Carolina, and Oklahoma is very likely going to be in the top half of the conference, and Tennessee, while Joey Aguilar being denied the extra year, I would say has ruined their chances of making a college football playoff run. Josh Heupel seems to have the program in good enough shape to where they should still be somewhere in the middle of the conference. And as good as the SEC is, if you're in the middle of the conference, that you're not likely to be an easy opponent for anyone. And the non-conference schedule is easier than last year, but still not easy because they replace Notre Dame with Arizona State. But they do get two guaranteed wins against Missouri State, who's now an FBS team. They joined Conference USA last year, but will not be of any challenge to Texas A&M. And then the Citadel, who is a bad FCS team. Now, Arizona State on paper is a game that Texas A&M should win, but it's far from a guaranteed win because Kenny Dillingham has shown what he can do against teams that are way above Arizona State's talent level, beating Texas Tech last year, and then the year before coming as close to beating Texas as they could have. To the point that if Arizona State and Texas had played each other 10 times, they'd have probably split it at 5 apiece. And by far the toughest two-game stretch on this schedule is the last two games on the road at Oklahoma and then hosting Texas. And even though Texas A&M has only lost at home twice under Mike Elko. Besides the playoff game, the other loss that came against Texas, and Texas A&M's three permanent opponents will be Texas, Missouri, and LSU. And you knew they were going to get Texas because that's their biggest rival. And if you're a Texas A&M fan, the only reason I could think of as to why you might not like Mike Elko right now is that he's 0-2 against Texas. And well, Texas A&M's play at the line of scrimmage in these 2 years under Mike Elko has overall been good. I think it's going to have to improve some for them to beat Texas because both of these last two meetings with Texas, Texas has pushed around Texas A&M on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Now, it's not surprising that they got Missouri as a permanent opponent because they used to both be in the Big 12 conference where they would play each other sometimes, and they both joined the SEC at the same time. But what is strange is that they're playing Missouri on the road because they played them on the road last year. Now it is surprising that they got LSU and not Arkansas because Texas A&M Arkansas is an old Southwest Conference rivalry, and if you're a Texas A&M fan, you'd have to feel really good about this Arkansas game because Texas A&M has owned this rivalry recently, winning 13 out of the last 14 meetings with Arkansas, and I expect a close one though because uh, it's still usually close no matter how good either team is. But it is also strange that they play LSU on the road because they played them on the road last year, and as disappointing as LSU's season was last year, Texas A&M was still the only team to beat them at their home stadium. And if you're a Texas A&M fan, you'd have to feel pretty good about this LSU game because these last 2 years, Marcel Reed has completely had LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker's number. And while Lane Kiffin is a really good coach, and I hated to lose him at Ole Miss, I am doubtful that he can offer much help defensively to LSU because except for against Texas A&M last year in the regular season, LSU's defense was very solid, and I actually like Blake Baker as a defensive coordinator. His only weakness has been stopping quarterbacks that are good runners like Marcel Reed, but no one has given him as much trouble in his time at LSU as Marcel Reed has. Texas A&M scored 42 offensive points against LSU last year, and well, Lane Kiffin will be a big help to them offensively. Elko's defense is going to be very solid. If there is a minus at the beginning of the spread, that means that Texas A&M is the favorite. If there's a plus at the beginning of the spread, that means that they're the underdog. A 20 plus spread is a blowout, and there are two of those, Missouri State and the Citadel. 10 to 19 spread is medium, and there's three of those, Arizona State, Kentucky, and Arkansas. A 6 to 9 spread is close, but there will be a clear favorite, and there's one of those, Tennessee. A 1 to 5 spread is almost a complete toss up, and there's six of those, LSU, Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Texas. And so if I had to guess exact spreads for these games right now, I'd say Texas A&M would be about a 50-point favorite over Missouri State, and at least a 50-point favorite, probably even more than that, over the Citadel. And I'd say because it's at home, A&M would be about a 10-point favorite over Arizona State because Arizona State lost at Mississippi State last year, and I think Vegas will consider that into this spread. And Texas A&M is a much better team and a much tougher environment to play in than Mississippi State. And I'd say Texas A&M will be favored by about 2 touchdowns over Kentucky, and I'd say they'll be favored by about 10 points over Arkansas, but not really because I think Arkansas is going to be a better team than Kentucky, but because the Arkansas game is kind of a rivalry. I'd say A&M will be favored by 6 points over Tennessee, only because it's at home, though. On the road, that'd be in the 1 to 5 range, and I'd say Texas A&M will be underdog by 3 points to LSU because it's on the road. At home, I think it'd be the other way around. And then I think A&M will be favored by 3 over Missouri, but uh, at home, I think that would be in the 6 to 9 range. And then I think A&M will be a 4 point underdog to Alabama, and I think A&M will be a 5 point favorite over South Carolina, but only because it's on the road. At home, that'd be in the 6 to 9 range, and I'd say A&M will be about a point underdog to Oklahoma because it's on the road. At home, I think A&M would be a field goal favorite in that one. And I'd say A&M will be a 3 point underdog to Texas, but on the road, that would be, I think, in the 6 to 9 range. So that'll be it with this video. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.